Hi, welcome along to World Cup Daily, the show that brings you World Cup and Arsenal news. And of course, it's a rest day for the World Cup today before they get into the matches tomorrow. And they're not going to get any bigger than those games tomorrow. Colombia versus Brazil and France versus Germany. Two excellent games on the cards tomorrow. And the first of all, the news on the Colombia versus Brazil game, which of course features the matchup between Neymar and James Rodriguez, which is going to be really intriguing to see which one of those two players comes to the fore and comes out in top in that game. The news from the Brazil camp is Neymar is fit. Now, if you watched him in the last game, you could clearly see that he took a knock earlier on in the game and he was carrying an injury. That's probably why his performance had dipped. If it had probably been any other player, they would have brought him off. But Neymar is Neymar, and you need him on the pitch. But Brazil camp saying that he is fit and is ready for that big clash against Colombia. And is that going to be big? We could be potentially watching one of the winners, whoever comes out on top of that game. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. And of course, the clash France versus Germany that features a lot of Arsenal players in that game. Lots of Arsenal players still left in the World Cup. More Arsenal players actually left in the World Cup than any other Premier League team. I mean, in France, you've got like Giroud is there. You've got Koscielny, etc. Germany, of course, Mertesacker, Ozil, Podolski. So there's lots of Arsenal players still left in the World Cup. And it's going to be really, really intriguing as well. So evenly matched that game. Germany versus France. You just do not know who is going to come out on top. Will it be a bit of magic from Ozil that sways the game? You know, will Giroud prop up and show everybody why he's such a good striker? It's going to be really, really intriguing to watch that game. Moving on to transfer news, and there is only really one big story in town today, and that is the whole Alexis Sanchez thing. It's really reminding me of last year with the whole Higuain and Suarez thing. This year, the target seems to be Alexis Sanchez. There was these rumours about a week or so ago that Arsene Wenger had secretly met with Alexis Sanchez's agent. Now we know for a fact that Liverpool are in talks with Barcelona, because there are sort of three clubs involved in this whole thing. They're in talks with Barcelona over the whole transfer of Luis Suarez to Barcelona. Now, Barcelona definitely want Suarez, know that they'll have to offload somebody in order to bring the Suarez deal in, because it's going to cost them so much money. They're not going to get rid of Messi. They're not going to get rid of Neymar, which is their two poster boys. So Sanchez is the player that reluctantly they're going to let go. Now, depending on which paper you read, which expert, so-called, or shall I say so-called expert you listen to, you don't know whether Alexis Sanchez is going to be part of that Barcelona deal and he will go to Liverpool, and Suarez will go the other way to Barcelona. Or there's other people saying, no, it's a done deal, or the deal's been agreed with Arsenal for Alexis Sanchez to come to Arsenal, and Barcelona will take the money from that in order to finance this deal. The Suarez thing is going to cost about, they're saying there's a release clause of £80 million. Now, if that's true, Barcelona are definitely going to need the cash, but I'm sure Barcelona would prefer to just say, right, well, you take Sanchez plus money and we'll take Suarez. But apparently there is talk that Liverpool are not interested in Sanchez. They want the money so that they can go out there and bring in the targets that they want to bring in. Now, Guillem Balaguer, who's quite a respected Spanish journalist, according to him, he reckons that personal terms have been agreed between Alexis Sanchez and Arsenal. And there's other journalists out there who are saying the same thing, that Arsenal have already agreed terms with Sanchez. Bids have gone in now from Arsenal. Some of them reckon they're only as low as 20 million, which wouldn't surprise me. But bids have gone in from Arsenal. Either way, we just don't know at the moment what's going to happen. It's one of these complicated transfer dealings where it's not just you and the club dealing. In a way, you've got to wait from the outcome to see what happens between the whole Barcelona Liverpool thing. Now, a lot of people will say that Liverpool are in the box seat. Yes, they are, because they're doing the direct negotiating with Barcelona at the moment. However, the player himself, Alexis Sanchez, is going to have to want to go to Liverpool. Remember, you can't just say to a player, all right, we're selling you and you're going to this club. They may be like, oh, I don't want to go to that club, so I'll stay here, and and then so it's really complicated. But a lot of experts seem to think that Arsenal have got a very, very good chance of making this deal happen. I, for one, would welcome this deal 100%. Even though he does play on the right wing, Alexis Sanchez, for his club, he can play as a striker. We've seen him more or less play across a front three for Chile. Remember when he came to Wembley last year, when they beat England, or sorry, 2013 when they beat England, that is sort of the position that he played, like a striker, and he was absolutely devastating, scoring 2 goals. He's clinical in front of goal. He potentially can be like a Luis Suarez. So, to me, it's a no-brainer that Arsenal should go out there and try and bring in a player of this quality. And even if he does, you think about it, if Walcott's on the right, and Sanchez is a right on the right, as can play on the right, they can interchange. Because remember, Theo's always saying he wants to play down the middle. They can interchange, both of them. One playing down the middle 1 minute, then changing over. It'd be really exciting to see him in the team with a fit Theo Walcott, with all our players back. I'm really excited. But will this happen? It's a real fingers crossed deal, because as I said, it is such a complicated deal. Because it's not just 2 clubs involved in the whole system of this deal. Another target out there that, again, if it does come off, will be complicated, is Angel Di Maria. Di Maria apparently wanted by Chelsea as well, but he's not really keen, apparently, on going to Chelsea, because he didn't really get on with Jose Mourinho when he was at Real Madrid. He's not that keen, apparently, on Manchester United, who also want him, because he doesn't really want to move up to Manchester. He's saying if he's coming to England, he would prefer London, and so that again puts Arsenal in a very good position if they want to go out there. Again, it'd be a lot of money. We do need a left-sided player. Be a lot of money, and I just think to myself, if they were to buy Alexis Sanchez, would they then splash another, say, 40 million, because that's the sort of money that Di Maria is going to cost on Di Maria. He's absolute class, by the way. I tend to think that Arsenal are probably more likely to move for Griezmann. He's a French player. He's a bit younger, and he's looked very impressive in the World Cup. And I think he looks a real Arsene Wenger type player. He'd be cheaper than Di Maria as well. I don't know what you guys think, who you prefer. Would you prefer us to try and go for somebody like Di Maria, or should we go for somebody like Griezmann? But again, we do need to solve that left-handed side problem. We do lack down that left-handed side, and we need to bring in a natural player who can play down there. Joel Campbell, of course, who is another player who can play on the right wing and also striker. He is coming back to Arsenal. So then again, you think to yourself, oh, if you've got Alexis Sanchez, you've also bringing back Joel Campbell, who's going to play in the same sort of position. He's been one of the stars of the World Cup. And it's been said that he's definitely going to be returning to the first team squad for next season, and I'm looking forward to that. I think the guy's gone out there, he's proved himself at Olympiacos, he's proved himself out there on loan, and he's definitely proved himself as one of these young stars of the World Cup. And a lot of clubs apparently in Italy, after the signature of Joel Campbell, but Arsenal have said that, yes, we're going to bring him back next season, and he's definitely going to play. And Arsenal have made a signing. Not one of the big marquee signings that you're looking for. It's not Jackson Martinez. No, it's not Alexis Sanchez. Not at this stage. It's Ben Sheaf, who is a young player. He plays for the West Ham Academy at the moment. His contract's come to an end. Arsenal apparently done a deal with him. He's 16 years of age, and he's a yeah, you guessed it, midfielder. Another one. But a very, very talented midfielder, apparently. Has been much sought after by many teams. He's chosen to come to Arsenal. So that's Ben Sheaf. Look out for him. England under-16 international. Let's get into some of your comments to see what you guys are saying. Arsenal fan 14 says, Robbie, what are your thoughts on Sanchez versus Jackson Martinez? I would go for Sanchez just because of his overall quality. He's absolutely brilliant. Jackson Martinez, again, looks a very good player. But I suppose I'm going on it because I've seen so much more of Sanchez, seen him play for Barcelona, Chile, in more games in the World Cup as well. And I really do like Sanchez's energy. I like his enthusiasm. I like his fight, as well as his skill factor. And I think I'd have to go for Alexis Sanchez. I think he would fit the Arsenal system perfectly. Chris Martin says Wenger should loan out Sanogo to a Premier League club and bring Sanchez with Campbell. He said, we already have Giroud, 3 great strikers. I always think you need 4 strikers. If you look at teams like Manchester City, Manchester United, most of the top clubs across Europe, they've got 4 strikers. We're going to be playing in so many competitions. We've got to defend the FA Cup, remember. We've got the Premier League. We've got the Champions League. 4 strikers is what we need. And no, I wouldn't agree that I wouldn't loan out Sanogo. I keep Sanogo in there. Let him learn at Arsenal this year. Anoop says, I would prefer Dejan Lovren as our new centre-back. What do you think about him, Robbie? I think he's decent. He's okay. I don't know. I think if we was to lose, Thomas Vermaelen, I think Stephen Corker, who used to play, of course, for Tottenham, has played for Cardiff last year, would be a good player to bring in. I sort of prefer him to Lovren. Samuel De Pledge says, Robbie, what's your thoughts on Schneiderlin, also Debuchy versus Aurier? Schneiderlin's a good player, but once again, I would like to see a more world-class, even though he's got a lot of Premier League experience, I'd like to see a world-class holding midfielder come into that position. So I would prefer somebody like a Sami Khedira or a Javi Martinez rather than a Schneiderlin. I know it'd be a lot more expensive, but it's what we need. Debuchy versus Aurier, I said yesterday, I'd love to see Aurier just because of his enthusiasm, the way he's really, really wants to play for Arsenal, his speed and pace. I know he's young, I know he's a bit inexperienced, but I'd probably just side on Aurier. But I think if we do get Debuchy, I think that's a good signing. He's very experienced, and I think that would be a great signing for Arsenal. Erwin Ramirez says, imagine Di Maria on the left, Sanchez striker, and Theo on the right. Wow, that is devastating. We should make it happen. I agree with you. That would be absolutely awesome. Mr. Chirozio Sausage says, if Sanchez would rather play with Henderson over Ozil and choose Liverpool over Arsenal, there is something seriously wrong in this world. Well, that's true. However, you've got to remember one thing. There is the factor of money that makes you play with anybody when certain money comes through. But yeah, you're right. I mean, surely playing with players like Ozil and that, I mean, it'd be brilliant. A-League HD says, Robbie, if we signed only Alexis Sanchez and Loic Remy for our front line, would you be happy with our attack? I would, actually. I would. I think, you know, with Giroud, Alexis Sanchez, Loic Remy, and Sanogo, plus you've got Theo who can play in that position as well. I would be more than happy with that as a front line. I think that not only will I be more than happy, I think that's an excellent front line. I do, however, think that we do need a left-sided player as well, and that's where I think maybe somebody like a Griezmann would be a good signing for Arsenal. Wouldn't cost more than about 20 million, although the way he's playing in the World Cup, those prices might be rising up. F. Knight says, Wenger, as usual, will underbid and will end up missing out on our targets. Now, this is one thing that I'm a bit worried about. I must admit, I agree with that person there. When I heard yesterday that we've bid like something like 20 million for Sanchez, you know he's going to be more than that. He's going to be more than, and I just hope that Arsenal don't dither around. If we're going in for these big deals, we've got to come aggressive. We've got to come serious if we're going to pull it off. Remember the Ozil deal, we were a bit lucky in that a lot of teams had already got their players. This one's different. As I said, it's reminding me of the Higuain and reminding me of the whole Suarez thing. If we're going to pull it off, we've got to move now. Jide says we will only spend big after we have fully qualified for the Champions League. This is what Arsenal does every year. I cannot see it changing. Well, if they were to do that, they're going to end up missing out on loads of big targets. So I think the Champions League qualification, that would take us right down to the end of the transfer window. I know that's happened before. I'm not sure if that's been the reason, but we cannot afford to do that this year. Ayush said, would you still want to bring in Remy as a backup option, or specifically Jackson Martinez and Sanchez? Listen, Jackson Martinez would be a good option. I think Loic Remy would be a very good buy for Arsenal, because he's played in the Premier League. He knows it. He knows it inside out. He knows the defenders he's going to come up against. There's not going to be no adjustment period, so I'd be well up for Loic Remy. A-League also says Di Maria would be about 40 million. I know, as I said, it'd be a very expensive, but you know, that's what you got to do to get the very best players. Couple more I'm going to do here. Thank you once again for everybody who sent these messages in. It's been brilliant. Ryan Purchase says Di Maria would be the signing of a season for Arsenal, but can't see us going for him, especially with the Sanchez links. Gokul says I don't think Wenger would sign anyone this transfer window. Last season, Wenger tried to push the season without spending a penny. The Ozil signing was very, very lucky and opportunistic. I don't agree with you. We will make signings. We will definitely make signings. It's just wait to see how big they're going to be. But we need players. And last one I'm going to do here is Dip Patel. He says Di Maria over Griezmann. Di Maria is a game changer. He basically won Real Madrid the Champions League. Yes. But all I'm saying is it'd be very expensive if you go and get Sanchez, and then remember, you still got to get a goalkeeper, holding midfielder, lots of other players you need to bring in. Maybe Griezmann, who's looking like a real talent, up-and-coming player, but who can drop in right now and do a massive job. Maybe Griezmann might be that player that will fit what we need straight away. As if we get Sanchez. Maybe if we didn't get Sanchez, then maybe Di Maria might fit the bill. It's all hotting up in the transfer market. Let's see who Arsenal bring in. Thanks for watching World Cup Daily. Don't forget, once again, the games are on tomorrow. Today's a rest day. The games are on tomorrow. Looking forward to them already. Brazil versus Colombia and France versus Germany. Don't forget, go to our match predictor on our app and predict the score. If you haven't already got our app, download it right now on Android and on iPhones. Thanks very much for watching World Cup Daily.